picking up where we stopped, about the positive fallout of the Doha debates, can you really quantify it? Can you tell me whether you've seen a tangible change in the mindset of policymakers, or whether this is just a platform for people to vent?
Well, several things have happened, and most importantly, I think the fact that colleges and universities there have set up their own debating societies now, and they take part in international competitions. They've even hosted international debating competitions in Qatar, which had never happened before. So you're seeing that, and you're seeing the students prepare for the debates. Sometimes they go over the subject amongst themselves in classes before they come to the actual debate itself. So really you're seeing them embracing the whole idea in a way that has really surprised me, I must say. So to that extent you can quantify it. And the other thing is anecdotal evidence, people coming away from the debates and saying, well, I came with this idea and I was going to vote that way, but actually I changed my mind during the course of the debate, which is very gratifying. You don't ask for anything else, that people came with an open mind, heard something they hadn't heard before and thought differently, took something different away.
Has this made Sheikh Hamad more popular with the younger people?
I think she was popular with the young people anyway. She's very progressive, and relative to the other leaders' wives in the region, she's certainly trumpeted education, championed education. She's even been on record as saying to the students, you need to criticize us. You should criticize. You should question what you're told. This is the kind of society. And I remember saying to her, you realize that the genie is now out of the bottle. You won't be able to put it back. And she said, we don't want to put it back, which I thought was a very interesting response.
What do the Qataris think about the US Central Command? They have troops outside Qatar in an army base there. Do they have an opinion on that? Does the Sheikh have to do a balancing act at all? Because I read that
it doesn't look like it. No, I don't think it's an issue that gets talked about. I mean, they're not very obtrusive. You don't see troops around in Doha, certainly not in uniform. It's accepted that it's there. It's part of the Emir's foreign policy. They try and be friends with everybody, including the Americans. And it's just left up to him. So it's not a live issue. It's not as if people are sitting around in the coffee bars saying, we want these Americans to go, or whatever. No, it's not a live issue.
And do you think through these debates you hope to change the relationship between the West and the Arab world?
No, I'm not looking to change anybody's relationship. I'm looking to shine some bright lights in dark places. I'm looking to get people to talk about things that really I think they need to talk about in their society, which have been taboo for so long, which are taboo in the rest of the Arab world and the whole region, which doesn't really talk about anything controversial or anything critical of the regimes. And this is, I think, what we need to be saying to people is that in order to have a free society, if that's what you want, these issues are going to have to be aired. And what's more, you're going to have to step up to the plate and participate. Now, life is not a spectator sport. You can't just sit back in your chair and let it unfold in front of you. You've got to play a part. Unless, of course, you don't care.
It's been 5 years now, and do you plan to do
actually.
6? Do you plan to do these debates in other parts of the world?
Absolutely, absolutely. We came to India early in the year, in February, to do the debate, as I think I said. And people said, well, why don't you come and do more debates? We'd certainly like to come and do more debates in India and showcase Indian views to the rest of the world. People talk a lot about India. India is a very live issue in the outside world, live because of the enormous trade and the enormous successes of Indian industry and Indian business. But people don't hear enough of Indian voices out there. And so we want to bring the diversity of Indian views to people in the rest of the world. And there's tremendous appetite to hear those views. So I hope we'll be able to do a number of debates here around the country.
To that.
Thank you very much. Perhaps you'll take part.
That would be wonderful. It would be, because I was nervous and you've put me to ease. Now, coming to Heart Talk, because I was so nervous about doing this interview with you.
I don't believe it.
No, I truly. I know we laughed when we talked on the phone, and I knew you had a sense of humor. But you know, I earlier said that Tim had a very crusty exterior, isn't that what I said?
Yes, that was a nice way of putting it, yeah. But you could have said anything far worse than that.
Grouchy.
Something like that. Yeah.
No, but you are so approachable, you have a sense of humor. So when you came up with the idea of Heart Talk, did you and the BBC sit down and decide that the tenor of the show would be tough and combative?
I think it had to be tough and combative, but not for the sake of it, but to get something out
No,
of
that's
people.
what I want to ask. For the sake of it, did
No,
you?
no. It's easy to bash people in a studio, and actually the audience doesn't like it very much. They tend to sympathise with the person who's getting bashed rather than with the interviewer. But the whole point of being tough and doing robust and difficult interviews is to get something new out of people, but to hold people to account. And what's different, I think, about Hard Talk from other interview programs is the amount of effort that goes into, the amount of homework that gets done. So we really chart how this interview is going to go, what we want to get from it, and what charges we want to put before the person who's being interviewed. Because this is the court of public opinion. A lot of people I've interviewed over the years should have been in front of a criminal court or a war crimes tribunal.
Tell us about the time somebody kicked you under the table because you asked a particularly rude question.
Well, it wasn't a particularly rude question. I don't think this was a government minister, British government minister, Mo Mowlam, who was Minister for Northern Irish Affairs, and she had done a lot of the dealings between the British government and the IRA, which brought an end to the conflict in Northern Ireland. It was a particularly tough interview, I think, and at the end of it I felt this stab in my ankle and I thought, oh my God, what's this? I said to her, you kicked me, and she said, yes, I did. I said, why did you do that? Because she said, you're a nasty piece of work. So, words to that effect.
I'm sure you have lots of anecdotes like this. Have you had people storming up?
Funnily enough, not everybody kicks me in the shins at the end of an interview, I have to tell you. I mean, you may do, but not many people do this.
No, but lots of, have people walked out, have people
Very
refused
few.
to be on the show?
No, a lot of people have refused. I mean, we couldn't get Tony Blair. 7 years, the 7 years I was doing the show from London. The show with the largest audience around the world of any chat show produced in Britain, and the Prime Minister of the day, Tony Blair, wouldn't come on it. Well, we were quite pleased in a way. If he was that scared of us, then maybe we were doing something right.
Yeah, maybe it's just that stare. That unblinking stare. When we come back after a break, you should tell us whether it's possible for you to do a show like this, like Hard Talk, because you have the backing of the BBC, because I don't think a smaller channel would have that luxury. But that's after a break. You're watching Off the Record. I'm with Sebastian.